Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is, once again, as I am wont to say, showtime. Hi, guys. Bloop. Here we are again. My maximum online character limit has been reached. I can't create any more without deleting some. No! Armor weapon to imprint. So I'll have a chance to drop a pile of similar stuff. Yeah, I don't think these actually work quite yet, but that's fine. Now, I expect that they'll completely unassign and be available again the next time I log in on this character, because that's what happens. Reach the surface beyond the sheltered world. All right, let's see. We got items and items. I went through my stash and grabbed some more stuff. Right, that'll need to be 25. We can upgrade that. Note all of that lovely forging potential still just sitting there. Formidable. Out we go into the sheltered wood. Good evening to those who've joined me. Thank you. That's right, I do have my falcon now. I hope your weekend is going acceptably well. Let's not try and set too high a bar, you know. Well, that's level 17 already. I have a bird. Because bird is, after all, the word. That's one of those references I have no idea if anyone gets any more. Some people do, I'm sure. When am I going to play Subnautica again? I have no idea. I have few plans. Where is this thing coming from? Everything in the world has decided to come play with me. Whatever that thing is that's spitting out the phantoms can go screw. As it's firing those things off so fast, it's ridiculous. I have no idea what I'm going to play. Almost anything on any given day. Let's see. Well, thank you. Let's see, on, I think, Tuesday, on the 5th, is that right? Tuesday? Monday? Monday or Tuesday? I think we've got the best game title of the year with Railguards of Hystera. But beyond that, it's not until next month when I'm for sure playing
The cultists had a philosophy.
Dune Awakening, which I'll be playing on the 9th if I get selected for the beta. Crit multi, and down here. It's an excellent game, Subnautica. And it had some real surprises for me, and I'm sure it had more in store. But it's one of those things, I tend to have a short attention span. I'm easily distracted by other games. And that's not to say I don't go back, because I frequently go back to games. But I really can't say when. You know, I watch someone else stream a game and all of a sudden, I want to play it again. That kind of thing. I mean, not too long ago, I didn't quite finish Blueprints. I was really angry with one of the end game things I won't go into because I don't want to spoil anything. And then a couple days later, you know, after uninstalling, I'm watching someone else playing, and oh well, I got it back in the urge to get back on it, even after just, you know, a couple of days after essentially rage quitting. Stop spitting at me. It's gross. Didn't your mother ever teach you a little bit of manners? All kinds of yellow drops. I mean, there'll be a lot of times when I'm playing a new game and... Oh, we got a champ. And I, you know, lose interest or... something else pops up. And 6 months later, I get the idea, hey, you know, I never finished that game. And off I go. Certainly, I think it would be better for my stream if I were more predictable. As it's not uncommon for, in essence, someone to catch me playing a game, and I stop playing that game, and that's a game that they're interested in as much or more than me. And so they're off to, something a little bit more of their interest. I mean, historically, my best streams are City of Heroes streams. And I love City of Heroes, and I've played an enormous amount of it. My third most streamed game. Last time I checked. But my brain just doesn't function in a way where I can just play one game all the time. My stream would be better off for it. I wouldn't be. My brain. All right, where were we going here? There and then there. Nemesis. Stormhide Paws, the Slab. None of those are of any use for me, so I'm just going to get rid of them. Also, a lot of times when I play a new game, and certainly it was true with Subnautica, a lot of the people who love the game pop in. I get a lot of good, helpful advice and stuff, and all that is awesome. But my attention span is so short.
Might have to drop something.
That I sort of can't reward them with a kindness. Because, you know, a lot of time they're amused, interested in my content, but they're here for the game. I'm the same way. There are streamers I watch because I enjoy watching them stream a particular game. They're not playing that game, I'm going to watch somebody else. One of the advantages I have in that I'm not trying to make a living out of this is I can afford to just play whatever, you know. I don't have to try. To play to the audience.
Might have to drop something.
I mean, ideally, I want the audience to have fun, to enjoy what I'm doing, come back, all that good stuff. But I do this for fun. And I think if I'm not having fun, I just don't think anybody else is really going to be having fun. And we're into the cultist camp. Cultists, that's good news. No one ever had any problems with cultists. All right, where are we going next? There. We do have explosive trap now. Very good. So the explosive trap will go there, and we will yoink points. No, we won't yoink points yet. We have 2 more available here. Critical strike multi. Don't we have an item where the third one is always critting? Yeah, 100% third strike. So, in which case, this, which increases the damage, reducing the damage of the first 2 strikes and increasing the third strike, which is a guaranteed critical hit, that makes sense. Now we'll sell a whole bunch of crap. What do we have up there? Health per second and health. That's really not all that good. It's okay. That one's better. Not necessarily good, but better. Currently there. Crit strike chance, a couple of resists. That thing is currently 29 melee damage. Plus attack speed, melee damage, and melee critical strike chance. It's just pretty freaking good. It's going to be a while before I replace that, I expect. Didn't look at it. Just sold it straight out of hand. Enemies pierced with multi-shot. Well, multi-shot is a bow thing, and I'd prefer to be a staff thing, but right now I've got an incredibly good club. Battle staff, if you will. So that's what I'm using. No. We want that one because it adds one to our flurry skill, which we're currently using for a good chunk of our damage. Which means we've got another point to go in there, which means our critical hits are going to be really chonky. All right, one quest, two quest, red quest, blue quest.
Go on.
Let's see how the splody mines are going. Not bad. I think the answer is that we're not going to be going with the ballista. We're going to be going with the mines instead. The mines are just doing way more damage than the ballista. Traps. I think I said mines. No, they're traps. I've played a lot of trap builds over in PoE, and I've always kind of liked them, so.
That was close.
Oh, we got one coming up behind us. One of the things we need to kill. One coming up behind us? Not yet. Mine's definitely feeling much better than the ballista. I was hoping to do something with the ballista, but so far that was just really uninteresting. Wasn't impressive. Coming up behind us yet? Nope. Just didn't seem to be working especially well. Maybe better for single target, but I wish to learn. Where's the other one? Moving across. I think I missed it. We'll have to start putting some points in. I think yoinking them out of ballista and putting them into the traps. Traps just work better. At least they feel that way. Where is it? There it is. God damn it! They put the pop-up right in front where I'm trying to do stuff. God, I hate that. Fucking modal dialogue boxes. Have these people not taken a goddamn basic class in UI? Fuck. You do not use modal dialogue boxes except when they are completely necessary. And that ain't. You put a small box up in a corner away from anything significant. You don't put it in the middle of the fucking screen.
Not happening.
Sorry. I have a great many pet peeves, and that would be one of them.
They won't forget.
Modal dialogue boxes. They are a curse. A pox. And sadly, they are not even one of the significant UI, UX issues that have no excuse for existing in 2025. Except lazy design and bad UI, UX design classes. Fat Buddy! How goes the big weekend? Well, I'm getting rid of the ballista. Wet day. Ew! Well, that's no fun. Let's see. Dexterity and at 5. Skills. We want... Oh, you know, the ballista is really just not doing it for me. So I'm going to yoink the ballista. No, doesn't make sense to yoink it just yet. We'll put the explosive trap in. Damage and fire as shred. Fire as shred. Oh, that's what we were putting into the ballista. We were going ice for that. More explosive traps. Yes, please. Kimmo, where were you yesterday? I saved up muffins to eat in front of you, and they were all gone yesterday after stream. Hi, Kimmo. All right, we'll see if we can freeze anything with the ballista now.
Not happening.
Busy yesterday baking chocolate chip cookies. You've got to stop baking things, because I'm going to be putting on weight. I'll be going to the store and it'll be, oh look, muffins. Kimmo had muffins. I want muffins. And now it's going to be, Kimmo had chocolate chip cookies. I want chocolate chip cookies. You were right the first time. I am a lame-o. Even though you meant lamau, lame-o applies. I am level 21. I'm now leveled up enough that I can drink. Cat is literally on top of your keyboard. That's because that's in front of you. How dare you pay attention to anything else? Did you not get the memo on attention? Cat name, please. I must have the cat name. Nemesis. Lilith. Ah, that's right. Bo's Anarchy. Sure will empower. We'll just hit him with a big stick till he falls over. I made the poor choice in naming for my cat. Maybe naming your cat Hecate after the goddess of witches in the underworld is a bad choice if you're allergic to cats. As I had to give my cat to my brother after a trip to the emergency room. Do not recommend. All right, we'll come up here. We'll talk to the last Imperial, whose diet has been coming along very good. He's just skin and bones without the skin. Falcon and Ballista have an additional crit chance. I'm not liking the Ballista. Literally just itched your eyeball after she licked my finger and now is way itchier. Yes, that's... We had cats through most of my life when I was growing up as a kid. And I knew I was allergic. You know, I wouldn't pick the cat up and go... No motorboating of the cat. I knew better than that. And if, the cat scratched me, it would raise a little welt. But an inability to breathe was new. And, yeah, so... As an example, right now we're doing 1,404 with my flurry, but 400 less. That's how good that thing is. It's really good. .33 base melee, a little bit more melee. Melee lightning damage. Now, if it doesn't have attack speed and something else notable, it's a non-starter. I probably shouldn't have gotten such a long-haired cat. Of the kittens a friend of mine's cat had. But its eyes were exactly the same color as mine. Now, they changed to be green, which I expected, but I couldn't say no. You're so mean to me, Kimo. Now instead of rubbing my face in the cat, which I'm allergic to, you're rubbing my face in chocolate chip cookies. Metaphorically speaking, of course, there are no chocolate chip cookies. There are none. On the positive side, I have found a tasty dessert item. A friend had made it when I went for a visit 6 months ago. And it turns out that the low-calorie Jello pudding is kind of tasty and is indeed low calorie. So I wish to learn. Can you also rub my eyeball? I believe I showed you my stupid eyeball trick previously. Where I can just flat out touch my eyeball from all my years of contact lenses. Freaks a lot of people way out. They can't stand to watch. Because the idea of them touching their own eyeball just creeps them out beyond words. I will take the symbol of hope. I'll go back to the cultist camp. And I'll touch my eyeballs again. Both of them. And if that's not enough, I'll show you my secret eyeball tech. I would use this to get out of meetings. Meetings that I had no business in being in, I would put this expression on my face. Like that. It inevitably, someone would go, you don't want to be here, do you? Not really. Yeah, there's really no need for you to be here. Why don't you go back to whatever it is you do? You like that one? I have no idea what you're talking about, officer. All right, the ritual site. Yeah, it's actually how I figured out how to do it. I don't know. It was crossing my eyes, but not. And I realized there was something different about it, and it got the reaction. And I figured out, oh, it's crossing one eye. Oh, yeah, that's going to freak people way out.
Not happening.
It's a good look for me. I think you'll agree. Not too many people can carry off the look of someone who's been hit in the head with a really large mallet. What? Back to town. Back to town. No, not quite yet. You almost divorced your husband. What? Simply because you can't resist my cross-eyed half look? I get that a lot. Not really. Let's see. More on mines. That was more explosive traps. Additional traps thrown, but it costs more mana. That's fine. I'm good with that. Where were we going next? Let's see. If you're using a melee weapon, Flurry now causes force waves to blast forward with each strike, dealing melee physical damage. Sure, I guess. Why not? Let's see how that works. Okay. The mana expense on that, if I'm not hitting anything, is pretty high. And they're spreading out a bit much. Oh, he's coming back. All right, so we are going to go back in here. We are going to respec and remove 2 points. He didn't drop anything special. Why does he hate freedom so much? Fun fact, it's your eyeball again, forgot to wash your hands. That is a non-smart thing. Take it from a non-smart man. I know non-smart. Yeah, I've been very, very careful anytime I've gone to a friend's house where they have cats ever since. The cats, of course, can sense that I'm allergic, and they adore me. Which normally is something I would be keen on because I like cats. I admit I'm more of a dog person than a cat person, but I like cats. And I've never had a dog, since I was a really young kid. Used to keep medicine for people who visit us in case they have an allergy. I just let them perish. Well, it's not about the perishing, it's about the suffering. Of course. I don't need a primalist thingy. I'm certain that the cat appreciates that the perishing, but also the pain. There was a study somewhere that was done. I don't remember where. University, science thing, something. Basically, they wired up cats and dogs, not to give them shocks, although that would have amusement value. Um, and essentially, cats can understand when you're talking to them as well as dogs can. They really, honestly, just don't care. I'm not even making that one up. Lucifer, your oldest cat, enjoys all the suffering happening in the house. Well, I mean, as the senior cat in the house, that's appropriate. You know, you've got seniority for a reason. All right. It's cold, but I don't see it actually like doing anything significant, sadly. We got our 2 points back. Let's see. Trap chance. Whenever an explosive trap detonates, it has a chance to drop a fresh trap. Now that mana cost isn't bad. Also up there, drop by trap sprinkler mode are now flung at nearby enemies. And that is... It can also fring. Whenever explosive trap detonates, it now has a chance to create a ballista for you. Consumes mana. Right, over there was too much mana. That's mana efficiency, which might allow us to go over there. Huh. What do we got down here? Trigger area and detonation area. That actually sounds pretty good from a straightforward, let's just blow more shit up standpoint. Attack speed, damage, attack speed. Just so far, I'm just not impressed with the ballista at all. What's my current dex at? 33. So that skill then is a more damage and more area. Also explodes when it expires or is destroyed. Sure, let's throw that at it. Maybe that'll juice it up a little bit.
Easy. Too easy.
Easy. Too easy. I'm level 23. I'm on a whole nother level. 23 to be exact. Stupid spooters. We've got another nemesis. And this time, we're going to drop a shitload.
Not happening.
God. Stop doing that. Would you get out of the damn corner there? Thank you.
Not happening.
Guy's kind of a dick. Right, unlocked that. Does feel a little uncomfortable being a build that mostly is done with a bow, and I'm using melee skills. And so all these bows are dropping, and I'm not even bothering to pick them up. Back to town. They didn't want to be called the Lesser Refuge. They wanted to be called the Refuge. Evidently, it mattered to them. Who understands people these days, you know? Let's see. Increased damage with two-hand weapons. Yes, please. Currently, I am using a big-ass staff. Fire pen with int. See, we want the melee damage per 10 dex with spears. Where we want to go with this. We want spear. But until we've got a spear that's at least close to being as good as our current two-hand bonk machine, which is currently at 1469, 400 less, 500 less, plus now it's giving us 15 health every time I hit something. It's making us more survivable. Still at 1469 and this. Oh, that's like actually in the same, ballpark vicinity thing. Throwing area skills. That is a throwing attack. Well, this one gets set aside for later. Where would it go? There. That will do. Fine. What did I do? There it is.
Yes.
Sell some crap again. Spell damage. As if. Huh. Minion damage. Minions teleported around you after you use a traversal skill. Ballistae are minions. Interesting. I hadn't considered that. And of course, the Falcon is technically also a minion. My brain is doing the thinking thing. It doesn't do it well, but it does try. I'm going to shatter this one into pieces. 2, 5, 8, and we got 4 out. Pretty good.
Yes.
What can we add to this one to see if we can get something better than that? Fizz damage, melee lightning damage. Chance to bleed. Attributes. I don't think we can quite get that up to actually be doing more than that thing. But to show it we care, we'll salvage it. And we've lost our connection to the server. 11th hour. Fix your fucking game. I love Last Epoch. You guys are doing an amazing job. But you don't get a pass. If I tell everyone else to fix their fucking game, you get it too. Funny, it remembered I had the sword on my tooltip, on my cursor. Let's try to not forget to put our weapon back in place. All right. Now we're back off to find the Temple of Itera. But first, I think we have to go back in time. That's definitely doing more damage now. At least that's the way it feels like. The Ancient Forest. Do you know what I have in common with this? The Ancient Forest? Old wood. Yes, that was a dick joke. Wood is so small, it's called a seed at this point. I'm not sure you got the joke. Although it's possible, I simply don't want to make the obvious reference. Ah, then yes, that was the obvious reference that I chose not to make. Okay. I did get the joke then. All right, that's good. I was just, wow, this is going to sound really unlikely. I guess I was just too much of a gentleman to actually say it out loud. That hardly seems likely, does it? What can I say? I'm just a prisoner of political correctness. Also, that's entirely bullshit. Just want to be clear about that. Oh, just roll over. Good doggy. You're not a gentlewoman, seems like. Thank goodness. And we'll just go right back to where we were. Well, it's not so much that I'm a gentleman, because, come on, seriously. I, you've been here long enough to know. I'm polite. Generally speaking, I am polite. I mean, when I'm not streaming, I'm incredibly profane. Sometimes when I am streaming, but when I'm not streaming, pretty much all the time. Husband says you have the spirit of an old sailor that curses every 5 seconds. Yes, cursing like a sailor is something I have been accused of more than once. Occasionally, they would go so far as to accurately describe it cursing like a drunken sailor, or sailor, could be sailor too. One of the reasons I try to keep it under control when I'm streaming is I've tuned in a couple of times to, well-known streamers, and every third word was an F-bomb, and of the other two words, one of them was usually mother, and then the F-bomb. I like a little more variety in my cursing than that. Falconer. We're increasing our two-handed weapon damage. Sword would be attack speed. Damage was the spear. And staff is fire pen with int. Well, that doesn't do anything for me. You curse in two languages. Well, that is an advantage. I mean, I'll occasionally drop a scheisse or a merd. I know excremento is crap in Esperanto. I think that's the only word in Esperanto I know. Brazilian cursing just cannot be beaten. I would expect so. The Romance languages tend to have it really, really well. Although I will say the Scots, when the Scots get rolling, they can curse like nobody else. Oh, they broke out into a whole bunch more of the little assholes. So each of those, there were like 5 of them that broke out of the original one that I beat up. Because that's kind of their deal. That particular flavor break out into more of the same. So just a quick go through on these that might be good. I'll take a look at them when I get back to town. So there was one that broke up into like 4 or 5 of them. Now, is Brazilian cursing? I mean, I know the language is Portuguese, but is it very different from Portuguese, as in the people in Portugal? I'm certain, obviously, they're swearing in Portuguese too. I'm not that dense, but is the nature of the swearing different between Portuguese in Portugal and Portuguese in Brazil? Because I know in some places where they're speaking, in essence, the same language, but the timbre and cadence of it is very, very different. Yeah, okay, so it is very different. I wish to learn! That is not that uncommon for, especially among colonial countries, for the languages to end up being very, very different. I mean, the United Kingdom and America have often been described as two nations separated by a common language. Portugal cursing is like a child throwing a butterfly at you. Brazilian cursing is like an old drunk sailor on cocaine. Colorful metaphor or analogy or picture you have drawn. Let's see. Hamstring, I don't think we need that. Critical strike multi. Crit strike multi. That's an additional multiplier on that third strike. Which could be large and in charge. Where were we here? We were just blowing shit up. Let's say particularly fast enemies trigger explosive traps instantly, even if they haven't armed. Cold snap mines. Would I like those to be cold? Sure, why not cold? We've got our ballista shooting cold. Our mines or traps are now cold. And my heart is cold. Ha. Also, ha. For those of you not paying attention, ha. Why can I not get that freaking helm? Don't tell me it fell in a place where I can't pick it up. That would be unamusing to me in the extreme.
Might have to drop something.
Or am I full? I'm full. I am full of it, guys. Please insert your joke here. sure we all potted up. What is he? He's like he's banging on the ceiling because the people downstairs are making too much noise. The Temple of Itera. We'll head back first. To empty out our inventory. Because it's full of fat loot. Yes, I went back in time again. Wow, it was interesting. Thanks.
Do not dwell on the regrets. Yes.
I have no need for bows or shields. Or one-handed weapons, for that matter. A Primalist helmet. They give me a Primalist helmet as a purple drop. Oh, yeah? Yeah? Well, yeah, I sold it. So there. Jerks. +1 to falconry. I don't need the increased crit chance with Flurry because I'm always critting automatically on the third strike. So an additional point in falconry would be welcome. Oh, and a sentinel helmet too. Very funny. Very funny. These guys are hilarious. I'm not using Cinder Strike, but the throwing damage. That's going to remove one from Flurry. That's okay. I can live without that one in Flurry. So, 14, 18. No, that's a no-go. 14, 18. Wow, half the damage. Less than half the damage. Let me take a quick peek. That's a two-handed mace. Got a couple of the Raowen's fortresses as drops. Can't really use them. Health regen, void resist, endurance, 100% chance to taunt. Why would I want to taunt? That just makes things angry. I wouldn't like them when they're angry. Anything else in here that is of a usable level? Probably not. That one, maybe. I'm going to say probably not, but we're going to look. 14, 18? No. Why did I set that aside? Because it has a sealed affix. The whole thing, though, is just simply not a very good package. Any of the other two-handers in here available for use? No. How about in here? Level 60. I'm not level 60 yet. Ooh, 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 ooh. Also, ooh. That's usable at level 2. No, it's not going to get there. Nor is that one going to get there. I am curious, though. 14, 18. 865 for a level, like, what is it, 6? 2. Level 2 weapon? That's really stonking good. Stonking. That's big. That's what stonking means. Anything in here? Let's see. Melee necrotic damage. Well, that sounds kind of cool. 1418. 1814. Interesting. A lot more damage. We can try it and see if it works. I mean, to some degree it'll work. Because I can wield it. And it does damage. It's just not necessarily my vibe, you know? But there's leveling, and then there's non-leveling. And I don't want to say never the twain shall meet, because they might. Besides, I'm going to look badass, wielding a two-handed axe named Bone Harvester that looks like a big scythe. I will look like Death Made Manifest, which would be good. I kind of would like to wield the Leviathan Carver simply because it's stupidly big. That is level 29. We're getting close. Big ol' honkin' hammer. I'm curious as what Harthanon's Vow would give. 1814? Yeah, half of that. By the way, 1814. Battle of Leipzig, I believe. I think. Also known as the Battle of Nations. Napoleon's first defeat on the field of battle. Pretty sure it was 1814. October of 1814. I think. We're back to the courtyard. Like October 15th through 19th, I think 1814. No, 1813. 1814 eventually led to... Ooh, it might have been 1814. God damn it. Eventually, Napoleon... Oh, crap. I already went through all this. Let's see if I can get back and go to where I have a portal open to. Or not. Got carried away trying to remember if the Battle of Nations was October of 1813 or 14. Tell me the portal's still open. Tell me the portal's still open. Come on. Come on. The portal is not... It's closed. It's closed. Well, that's gonna waste 3 minutes of my life running. I hate it when I do stuff like that. I'm a firm believer that every map should have a waypoint at the beginning and possibly also at the end. But definitely the beginning of every single map. And sadly, there are too many maps where they don't do that. It's one of my biggest problems with PoE2. Is they have made moving between the maps just an absolute nightmare. You go to one map where you've got 3 different adjacent maps, and you've got quests you need to do in each one. But if you go into one of them, you lose the waypoints in the map you currently have, and you have to re-go through the whole freaking map again. At least in PoE 1, almost without exception, the waypoints are in convenient locations. They're not put in there in such a way as to intentionally make your life more difficult. Because, hey, everything needs to be like freaking Dark Souls now. Now, speaking of Dark Soulsian ARPGs, they just had a big patch for No Rest for the Wicked, and my God, that game is beautiful. As that is actually what, theoretically, they want to do with Path of Exile. It's inspired by Dark Souls. Only they completely lost the track of how Dark Souls games work, except for the bosses. Well, that's not what they've done in No Rest for the Wicked. No Rest for the Wicked, a lot more like a Dark Souls ARPG game. In Dark Souls, it's not just about the bosses. It's about, there are a few mobs between bosses. You might hit a dozen. A couple of little mini critters and whatnot. What you don't run into is dozens and dozens of packs of mobs. I have little friends now. The great big scythe is summoning little friends for me to play with. That's delightful. And that's what they seem to have forgotten. And that's why their entire design tenet for Path of Exile 2 doesn't work. It's because they're trying to make an ARPG Dark Souls alike without realizing that the two don't really fit. That you can't take big chunks of PoE and stick them in PoE 2 and have them just work. The same thing happened in a completely different genre when BioWare tried to turn Knights of the Old Republic into an MMORPG with Star Wars The Old Republic. They took the bones from the RPG and then tried to build the MMO out of them. That's not how it works. You had to take the bones of an MMO and then build the muscles from the RPG. So what they ended up doing is having to take some of the fundamental systems in the RPG and break them because they didn't work in an MMO, despite the fact that they had been built into the game from the very bones. For instance, in Knights of the Old Republic, you can alienate NPC companions to the point where they'll leave or you have to fight and even kill them. You can't do that in an MMO. You can do that in an RPG. In Baldur's Gate, you've got the same thing. You can alienate your companions. And I think you can fight and kill them. I don't know for sure. But you can alienate them to the point where they leave. You can't do that in an MMORPG. Because if the player alienates the one companion that's a healer, he doesn't have a healer anymore in his party of two. And so initially, in alphas before I got into the game, you could alienate the NPCs to the point where they'd leave and never come back. And they realized that that broke their game. They built that in from the very base as one of the things they wanted. And it broke the game because they weren't building an MMO. They were building an RPG. And that's not the way that works. And so if you're trying to build a Souls-alike, you can't take an ARPG and just add tough bosses. That doesn't make it good or interesting. And it doesn't capture the spirit of the game that you're trying to capture. No Rest for the Wicked does that. PoE 2 fails utterly. Thank you. This has been my TED Talk. By the way, I should be clear, I've not played No Rest of the Wicked, and I won't be playing it because I'm bad at those kinds of games. I've managed in PoE 2 because it's mostly an ARPG. And I'm pretty good at ARPGs. But I'm not good at Souls-likes. I don't find them fun. I don't find that sort of learning, pseudo-learning experience fun. I did it in raiding in Vanilla WoW. And it's one of the reasons I stopped raiding in Vanilla WoW. Because I just find it more frustrating than fun. I don't play for frustration. I play for fun, and everybody's definition of fun, whoa, is different. So when I say it's not fun for me, I ain't saying it's not fun. Because obviously it's fun for shitloads of people. But not for me. All right, how about we get... And we just sit here and we just wail on him until he dies. Now, I think PoE 2 can be a good game, but it's got a lot of fundamental problems. In that they're following the vision instead of following the fun.
Might have to drop something.
In my opinion. There are plenty of games out there that a lot of people like that I won't and don't. I mean, another one that's an example is currently, it's a game I would love to play. It's beautiful. My understanding is the storytelling is really good. And it's a huge hit. But I know I won't like it. And that's Clair Obscur. Because I don't like those reaction timing type games. Basically, which is again similar to the Souls-alikes. And that's what Clair Obscur's combat is. It's timing based. You know, for defense purposes at least, you've got to be getting the timing right. I find that boring. I don't find that interesting. That's a me thing.
To drop something.
Trappist. Stop flying around and making noise.
Might have to drop something.
Trappist, when directly using explosive trap, an unconverted explosive trap and a trap corresponding to each conversion mode you have are thrown at the same time. They are thrown in a small area. They do less damage, have less area, cost more mana. So I guess that's one of every type. So if you have fire selected and ice selected and lightning selected, it does all of them. Let's go deeper into cold. We've got another nemesis here. We're ready to challenge him.
Not happening.
God damn it. Hit the right buttons, Lens. You loopy bastard. We'll see if that two-handed staff is better than the two-handed staff we're currently using. God damn it, once again, I can't fit anything in my freaking inventory. Pardon me. It's fine. It's not fine. That one we don't want. That one we might want. That was the one. All right. All right. Back to the council chambers. This time we actually have the waypoint. I opted into not being a dumbass. I hear good things about not being a dumbass. I should try it more often.
Yes.
All right, we got a bunch of two-handed weapons we get to take a look at. Minion damage and throwing damage. At least for now, I'm keeping the gloves for the elemental resistance. Pardon me. That's a nice hat. But I like having a point in falconry. All right, now we're going to try out all of these new and improved weapons. Currently, we are at 1859. Not even close. $543. $1130. $1065. $847. $954. $791. Let's see. Critical strike chance. That was a nice get on that. Block effectiveness. Chance to throw shurikens on block. Chance for shurikens to ricocheted. Oh, we can go back into shurikens maybe. Ooh, that would be fun. $1155. Obviously not as much as 1,800 damage.
Yes.
We will hold on to that. Put these in here for now. We've got more space for a couple of more idols. No. There we are. Actually, we'll do it over here. That's Weaver's stuff for Sentinels. Nothing for throne stuff at all? Could have sworn there was. I'd be swearing incorrectly, but I could have sworn. Well, let's see. We can get one vertical. Elemental resist seems pretty good. We can get one horizontal. A little more void wouldn't hurt, as we are fighting void critters right now. Sure. Void resistance. There we go. And we are getting closer to finishing off this chapter. The Ruined Temple. Ooh. Pardon me. Old man stretching.
Not happening.
Really, upon entering a new map, my Falcon should immediately come off cooldown. Just saying. People are saying PoE 2 is better now after the patches. Well, yeah. When you bungle a big patch as badly as they bungled this one, of course they're going to make fixes. It's just that the state of it when it came out was so hilariously bad. You know, when the guys who make their living off playing your game are saying the games, to quote Zizarin, this is shit, this is dog shit, this is absolute dog shit. I don't remember exactly specifically what he was talking about, but that was his opinion about some part of 0.2.0. And just basically as a thing, if your most loyal players are busting out sentences like that, you done fucked up. And that's my biggest issue with PoE 2, is that so many of the problems are just self-inflicted wounds. Nobody in their right mind thinks the well in town is a good idea. And I mean nobody. It doesn't provide friction. It either provides nothing or it provides frustration. Back to town, and then right back to this same map. And it doesn't matter how many times people ask him about it, they keep saying, no, we like that. No, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't like that. Obstinacy. Wish you could give you gold to someone because you're not playing anymore. You have more than 200 million in gold. You played a lot since Settlers came out, didn't you? Played a lot more than me. I mean, Settlers I thought was a really good patch. Not only was I think it an effective patch, it also was useful as a development tool for them for, preparing for gold in PoE 2. Well, while that kind of development is smart, is wise, and I do not blame them, I do not appreciate an outright lie like Ruthless. Oh yeah, it's just a couple of guys doing that in their spare time. Come on, man. We might have believed it at the time, but now we know it was bullshit. Settles you played for a long ass time. Yeah, but you're talking about, oh, the gold in Last Epoch. Well, the gold in Last Epoch is only really useful, really useful if you're in the Merchants League. I mean, sure, there are uses for it in Circle of Fortune. They're just not anywhere near as important. Almost everyone is in the Merchants. There's no way of just giving it away, all your money. Yeah, I don't know enough about the exact mechanics. I've only played a little bit with the Merchants Guild or Merchants League, whatever it's called. But I know that a lot of the bits and pieces of the design were meant to prevent real money transfers. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that you can't just shift your money around.
Not happening.
Don't stand where he's aiming. Bad things are going to happen in that direction. Just saying. Whoops. I always play Circle of Fortune because it just feels so much better. I always, for instance, in PoE, I always play the Trade League, but I've only made one trade in my entire time playing PoE in thousands of hours. I didn't get a point. Oh, there it is. Oh, that was quite the little delay. More crit multi. Well, here we go again. We're up to 1958. 1200. 1400. That's currently our second leader at the clubhouse. 604, that's not going to cut it. 1234, better, but still not cutting it. 962, no. Wrong slot. 1223, that's not bad. $15.29, that one's getting into the ballpark. $12.64. I don't think we can even turn that into anything. Pardon me. Well, we can sell all of those then. You love trading? You're lying. You hate it. It's the worst. But you can't craft for shit. Well, I mean, my crafting,
Gold won't save you.
I can do, in PoE 1, I can do essential normal style crafting stuff just fine. But the best crafted items I've ever had was pretty early on. When I started doing alt spamming, I was cogent enough about the game. I was savvy enough about the game to recognize when I hit tier 1 on a two-handed weapon. I hit tier 1 flat damage and tier 1 attack speed. So I regaled it. I got tier 3 cold, which isn't bad. And then eventually I put on the 101 to 129% damage increase. So at that time it was like a 650, 700 DPS weapon, which was really good. That was pretty much just pure luck from alt spamming. And then a couple of leagues ago, I was doing ROG crafting. And again, was savvy enough to recognize when I'd produced something exceptionally good and in the ballpark of extraordinary. It was a lightning arrow build, so it had tier 1 lightning, tier 3 cold, tier 5 fire, tier 1 crit, and crit multi. And I just eventually put attack speed on that, and that was a extraordinarily good bow. So in each case where I've had good crafting, it was because of luck, but I was aware enough to recognize and take advantage of the good luck. You can only craft stress in your life. You see, it's one of the things is when I rolled up my skills for life, I got that as an implicit. So what did we have here? We had, this one was 1264. This one was 1529. This one was 15 something. No, 1068. Why did I hold on to that one? Gee. So we're going to see if we can make anything out of these. So that's got 15 melee lightning, and increased necrotic does nothing for me. So what we do is we're going to try and chaos off the necrotic and see if we can get something useful. Physical, flat damage, crit, any of those. Mana gain and mana spent, that's not a win, and I can't do any more forging on that until I'm level 30. How about this one? Melee fire, and again, necrotic. Why necrotic? Why do you hate me so much with necrotic? Damage over time, not really helpful. Lightning damage. Okay, now we're talking. Oh, it's increased. It's not flat. And there's no more potential in it, so that's when we break up for parts. Three. Back in you go. It's the Bone Harvester. All right, I need to speak with Elder Gaspar. There was a time in my life where I was pre-ulcerous. And I was taking, at that time, the two most prescribed drugs in America. At various times I was taking for my pre-ulcerous condition. That was Zantac and Tagamet. Anti-ulcer medication. If your nation's most prescribed medicine is ulcer medicines, maybe you've got an issue.
Who is sent? Seek out the outcast queen, leader of the living rebels, and show.
All right, we'll talk to the outcast queen. Isn't that what she is? Yes, the outcast queen.
Yes.
And Kaylin, the outcast assistant, executive secretary. And they want me to open up the forge. Well, let's see. That thing's pretty terrible, gotta say. So, time to throw more chaos at it, because we're not doing fire or poison. Void, is it flat? No. Ward gained on potion use. That's useless. Spell damage, useless. Oh my god. We're just going to throw a physical and call it a day. That's a wasted item. This one's not entirely. Physical damage. I think we're still doing some of that. We can remove that. Go with that. Throwing damage and reduce mana cost. Sure. Throwing damage. Level of Cinder Strike. Poison resist. Sure, we'll just grab a poison resist on there. Throwing damage. Sure. And we've increased our damage some. All right. We have to go into Wellrun. It's a terrible city. It's a kind of a shithole. It's really not well run. Well run. It's a play on words. I hate those bone sculptors. Amongst my least favorite mobs. Not getting enough damage out of the mines to really turn those into my primary, that's for sure. Not yet, anyway. I call out my heavy artillery with the Falcon, and the freaking thing flies off. Hate him so much.
Not happening. That was close.
Big bear. Big dead bear. We'll just beat them all up until they die. Or surrender. Undead don't really surrender. Of course, can't really say they're dying either. Shkaboom. We've got another nemesis. I already got. No. No, nothing there worth fighting for, even to improve. Oh my god, every 5 steps, I'm getting 2 more of these flying jerk tards. Imperial well-run rates? Yes, it rates. You know, it has aeration. So it aerates. No? Chill stacks, but I guess we don't want the freezing one because that adds 15 seconds onto the cooldown. A portion of the remaining cooldown is recovered. Yeah, as much as that sounds entertaining. Level 28. The Great College, where they have changed the quest flow a little bit. Used to be you had to realize that you needed to go forward in time. Oh, we have disconnected again. 11th hour. Fix your fucking game. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, doing a great job. Love the improvements. But you don't get a pass. You do not get a pass. Something like this is not acceptable. Fix your fucking game. I get disconnected for no reason. None. It does not happen as often as it used to, but it still happens much too often. Fix your fucking netcode. $20.65. Psh, less than half. Nowhere near. Yeah. Don't worry. All the other companies, well, I was going to say they hear it, but they don't hear it. None of them hear me when I say it. But I say it about shitloads of the other companies. I've been saying it to ArenaNet for almost what, 12 years? The DC problem I get from them every once in a while. Urzel's Pride, Void Damage, Melee Void, and Melee Physical. That one might be good, so we're going to Empower. I can name games that I have a disconnect problem with from time to time on essentially less than the fingers of one hand. Guild Wars 2, this, and The Bazaar. Those are the only ones. Literally no other game. And funnily enough, when I check on the internet, they all have many reports of people suffering disconnects. To me, that means there's a problem with the netcode. All right, we can't get in the door. So conveniently, a time rift appears so that we can go to the future and get the key off the body of the guy who's locked the door. Then we go back to the past, kill him, after using the key to get in and put it back on his body. How we can have two keys at once isn't clear, but magic. Okay? It's magic. The key. Sadly, I think it's actually fastest to go all the way back around. And he's running away. What are you doing? No! He's all scared because I'm going to kill him. Yep, alright. Now we'll kill the guy who ran away and put the key back on his body. Shut down the device. The device has been shut down. Up. Empower. Lightning cracks, and so do you. Now, when I tell EHG to fix their fucking game, I say that without rancor. That's not always true. A lot of times when I say that, it's because I'm furiously angry, and it's said with an extra slice of rancor. Well, so far, this build is living up to my description of it as the worst build ever. It's not good. It's not strong. But it's not the worst build ever. It's hyperbole to call it the worst build ever. As really at no time has it felt strong yet. Whereas both the Warlock build and the Mage build, not to mention the Void Knight build, felt pretty strong from early on. This one, not yet.
Yes? Yes? Gods be with you.
But when your build document can be summed up as, I've never done ballistas. That sounds fun. Yeah, mines. Mines were good. Let's try that too. Oh, and we've got points for spears. I would like to do something with spears. Well, I had a good spear that lasted up to about level 20 or so. Now I'm using a great big two-handed axe because it just does like 50% more damage than anything else. So much for my deep, well thought out build design. Where's the jerk who's shooting all that stuff? And why isn't he dying faster? The Soul Warden's Road. Weren't the good guys in New World called the Soul Wardens as well? I think. Back to the Outcast camp. Cash in a quest. Sell some crap. I mean, that doesn't look particularly roguish, does it, really?
What do you
The
want?
mask, maybe. Right, there is spears, and that's where we want to go eventually. Here is melee damage for Falcon, throwing damage for Falcon, and bow damage for Ballista. I'm still not convinced about the Ballista at all. Over there, increased damage with one-hand weapons. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, Ballista. You gotta have to work with me here, all right? I gotta have to see. I'm going to have to see some results from you at some point here. You gotta give me some, you know? Well, that's a dashing hat. So we're currently at a little over 2,000. Not even remotely close. That's not going to be either. But I can expend a little of my daily allotment of futility trying to make it better.
Yes. Be well.
Glyphs of Chaos. Melee fire. It's flat fire. I can work with that. So 2065, 16? 17. Close. That's a tier 3 melee fire. The critical strike chance we can raise. Not sure that's going to give us a bunch. Tier 1 is really 58%. Okay. What else can go into the suffixes? Chance to blind, bleed, chill, blah, blah. Health on melee hit. Throw a couple in there. %. So what did we get it up to? About 16? So this is going to be what, 17.5, 17.50, something like that. 17.47 off by a grand total of 3. Say that was pretty good. Well, we are doing more stuff with the spear coming up, so we're going to stick with this for now and see how that works. We're over here right now. We just grabbed that. No. What else were we grabbing? Crit strike, because the third strike is a guaranteed crit. And so we already have the third strike doing 75% more damage. And this is a flat multi on top of that. Mine so far, gotta say, kind of disappointing. They're just not blowing my skirt up, so to speak. That's clusters. Let's try the Tropos. Did we have one more? We did. We had 2 more points in the Ballistae that I'm hoping will not disappoint me. All right, here we go again. The Soul Warden's Road awaits us. I started early tonight, so I will continue playing for a bit longer. It does seem that that's doing more damage. How about the ballista? Feeling a little better. How about some, I don't know, rogue-specific idols instead of everybody else? Interesting. Absolutely none of those were rogue-specific. Every other class had at least one, but the rogues, not so much. Disappointing. The Risen Lake. Somebody added yeast. Explosive trap, definitely feeling better. Ballista is better. I don't think it's good. Well, let's do a little bit of time travel. From the Risen Lake to the Corrupted Lake. And a yawn from the old man. It's not you, it's me. Definitely feeling better, both of those. Rollhide. The finest leather. That's an awful lot of round boys in one place. Did I say that as a round boy? Alright, we've got priest or something down here, prophet. Prophet of ruin. Quest complete. We wanted spears. We got to keep our eyes open for spears. We would like to travel back to our previous time, which is back in the future. Yeah, I stole that.
Not happening. I won't forget that one.
Knock, knock. I said knock, knock. I swear sometimes it just simply doesn't register that you're clicking on the thing. However, that is not sufficient to elicit a outright cry of fix your bleeping software. Not quite. Somehow I just knew that there was a not very good unique in there.
Welcome, traveler.
I didn't. I have to protect her. Lord knows why. Serenus, not Ronan, the accuser. Wasn't sure whether this was Diablo or PoE, but it is none. Well, it is a descendant of both, for sure. There are strong influences mostly from Diablo 2 and PoE. Much less so from Diablo 3, or Diablo 4 for that matter. The game was created literally on Reddit, with the guy in charge, Judd, basically going, "Hey guys, so I've got an idea for an ARPG. Who wants... Come on guys, let's make a game." And that was pretty much what happened. A bunch of people said they'd help out. Eventually they did a Kickstarter. Now it's a real game. And a really good game. I need to go back to town, so do not let me forget that I have a gateway open, a portal open. Yeah, but it is inspired by Diablo 2 and obviously gets a lot of inspiration from PoE 1. But also they've spent a really large amount of time and thought and effort in doing an enormous number of quality of life things and a bunch of stuff that essentially comes down to, wouldn't it be neat if? This is their second season, and it's quite good. It's really very good. All right, currently that's at 1790. Way less. That's got no chance of equaling the damage. No. No. Nope. And I have a number of these already set aside, so I've been playing since relatively early in the early access period. At one point, basically, they contacted Zizarin, a streamer, if you're not aware of it, and they asked, would you please, try our game? And he said, yeah, but I'm going to have to be honest about it. And their response was, oh, God, yes, roast us. We need to know. And he was so impressed. He played it on stream, and I was so impressed with what I saw, a lot of potential. And the fact that they had that attitude about it. Oh, yeah, roast us. All right, where was the gateway I just came in from? There it is. So it has had a very healthy development. When I first got into the early access, I was playing it on stream, and the game director, came in and asked, what do you think? What do you enjoy? What don't you enjoy? I had a couple of things. My first one, I don't even remember what it was, but he said, yes, that's already been fixed. Oh, it's about something about scaling the mini map up to either not being able to scale it here or not being able to move it, something like that. And he said, don't worry, that's already fixed in our next patch. And he came by a couple more times early in the development. Gave me some codes once. Thank you, Judd. So it's a game not only that I want to succeed because more ARPGs is good, but it's a game I want to succeed because of the way it's been developed and the attitude the developers have had towards feedback. I will also note that in other good news for ARPGs, we've got more content coming for Grim Dawn, as those guys continue to put out content for it long after they said they were done doing so. Thank you guys, good work. And relatively soon, we should get a look at Titan Quest 2. Now, it's not done by the original development team, but it does seem like they're taking the development cues from the original game. So hopefully. As ARPGs are one of the best, I mean this in the best possible way, the best time killer games around. Ooh, he hit hard. That was not welcome. They are great. Put your mind, put your brain in neutral, and just blast. Kill mobs, pick up loot. Sometimes you don't want deep thinking in your game. Sometimes you just want to blast. It's more than that. I mean, because there are deep systems in play for things like crafting and the like. But the gameplay itself is not especially complicated. It has a really good crafting system. As an example, the end game is much better than it was. It was pretty bare bones at launch, not gonna lie. It's not anymore. The new season stuff that they added is really good. I would say in PoE they tend to stagger. Historically, they've done leagues where they sort of stagger them. Smaller leagues and then bigger, more crafting focused leagues, alternating. And I would say that this is better than most, if not all, of the smaller leagues that they did for PoE, and as good as some of the good, PoE leagues. The last PoE league was Settlers, and Settlers was a great one. So is this as good as Settlers? No. Is it really good? Yeah, it is. Nemesis, we have empowered these twice. That one may end up being, wow, that may be really good. Holy crap, that may be really good. Oh, I wanted to use Spear. Lightning strikes, guys, just in case you weren't paying attention to the man with the electrical shockness coming out of him. Lightning strikes. Yeah, lightning strikes. We get it, dude. Seriously. Got him. And we've got a shrine here. And a loot lizard. Ooh, Advent of the Erased. That seems sexy. Oh, is that probably going to be my new boots? Oh, and we, because of the shrine, I have pet cats or squirrels. I think these are pet squirrels, actually, with glowing blue eyes. Can't tell if it's the squirrels or the cats. Looks like it's the cats. Yeah, I think those are cats, I think. Terrifying. We'll go back to the cultist camp. Sorry, the outcast camp and tidy up our inventory. All right, we want to wear these because these are fine. But these have one of the mechanics from the previous season, Weaver's Will. It has only 6 Weaver's Will. In addition to the affixes it currently has, it's going to get 6 random affixes, actually up to 4 affixes with a total of 6 tiers put into them. Movement speed, chance to gain haste, less damage taken while you have haste. When you have haste, refresh duration, you gain ward. Okay. We'll want to put that away.
Yes.
One of the other big things about this,
Be well.
you have a base class. In this case, it's the rogue. And when you hit about 20 points, you can choose a mastery class. I'm going with Falconer. But you can still put points in the others. You just can't go as deep. So in Marksman, you can only go to where the chain is, the same as in Blade Dancer. Plus, the other sort of big mechanic that is different in this game from, say, PoE or any of the Diablo games is every skill has its own specialization tree. And by default, you'll level up, you'll get 20 points, but there are items that can give you additional points to spend.
Yes.
Throwing damage. That one's got more void and fire resist. We'll keep what we've got. It's fine. It's fine. We're keeping that because it's got really good elemental resists. All right, we'll put these away here. Urzel's Pride with health. Nice bonus. We can return this to its place and that. Let's see. We've got Exalted. Good cold. And that is a sealed affix. So it still has an open prefix. Not bad, but I'll hold on to that until we finish up getting all the Weaver's Will out of that. Now we've got a couple of items. We're going to see if they're an improvement. We're currently at 1790. 1175. Unlikely that this one, could get up to the kind of damage numbers we're going to see from one of these. This one is not. Those two can both be sold, but I think that other one is going to be a monster.
Be well.
1790. 2300, I'm going to guess. 3100. That's a lot.
Yes.
That's about a 50% damage increase. So, even though we want to be using a spear, the fact of the matter is, my spear is not that good. This is the hammer. We'll give up a little elemental resistances. We have a 1 pop, right? Where are they? Let's see. Void resistance. We're out of the void resistances now. We don't need those any longer. At least not as much. Yeah, a little physical resistance. Probably a good idea. Now, because a huge amount of damage is never enough. Tier 6 sealed melee cold damage. And it's got 55 forging potential. Holy shit. I talked about the crafting. This is a special dropped weapon where it has what's called a sealed affix. This one here, which means it's an extra affix. You can normally only have 2 prefix and 2 suffix. And there's a method for sealing affixes, so you can have 1 sealed affix as well. In this case, it's tier 6, which normally doesn't show up until about level 50 or 60. And this is on a level 22 item. So the amount of flat cold damage doing is stupid. Forging potential is reduced by crafting onto an item. In this case, it already has flat melee void as well, and flat melee fizz. That's the best we can do to increase is the flat melee fizz. So we're going to increase that. Right now it's at a flat 10 damage. None of these are percents except the chance to ignite. They're all flat damage, which is generally better. And I can probably add 2 or 3 tiers, and we still won't reach the temporary limit. The higher level you are, the more points you can spend. So currently it's at 10. Cost me 5 forging potential. That cost me none. It was 10, now it's 20. What will we want to put here in that last slot? All attributes isn't terrible. The penetration ones don't really make sense because I'm hitting with cold, fizz, and void damage. So penetration is less good if it's diffuse damage like that. Health on melee hit is probably a good one. Just basically every time I hit something, I get a little bit of life. And that's giving me 5. And now it's going to be 8, 9. So this thing now is 3,359 or 39 damage. The previous one was what, 1,800, 2,000, something like that. We are going into Imperial Thetima next. Suddenly I am wielding, I don't want to say a god weapon, but for the tier, a stupidly good weapon. There's something over there. Oh, chest. 16 gold, I'm rich. We're off to Vegas, boys and girls. I'm right now just face tanking this guy. And that was like a mini boss. Wow. Okay. Yep, that's a good weapon. That's a really good weapon. Tier 6 flat cold. Ooh, finally a little rogue goodness. As you can tell, I'm a classic rogue archetype here. Me with my enormous two-handed hammer. You know, the traditional weapon of rogues.
Easy. Too easy.
I don't think traditionally, even dwarvish rogues. Or burglars, for those of you with Latro experience. And because it's got so much flat cold damage, it's freezing things a lot. All fun and games until the purple burglar alarm goes off. Well, yeah. And it's coming back to life. I knew it was doing that. I knew it was doing that. We are now in Imperial Fatima. So I'm going to go all the way through Imperial Fatima. We'll get onto the boat with the Admiral. That spear. God, I really want to use the spear, but right now it just simply makes no sense. Let's see. First, I'm going to head back to the camp, again, as is tradition, to sell stuff. Where was I going here? I liked Trappist. That seemed pretty good. Static mines. That'll also give us lightning. Shocks. Damage and shreds. Oh, we got chill stacks and freeze rate per int. My int, not that great. He's not that smart. Quiet down there. What do we got over there? Whenever you hit an enemy with any melee attack, attach an explosive trap. Well, that seems pretty delightful. Oh, I already spent the point.
Yes.
going to be a long time before I actually get something I can use other than this hammer. I mean, I could use other things. I would have to be clinically insane. Don't say it. Be polite. I'm going to yawn again. Sorry. All right. We're going to buzz through Imperial Fatima to the Admiral's Dreadnought. We're going to kill the Admiral, who's like a big undead spider dude. We have added one of the affixes to the boots we're wearing. We'll take a look at that in a sec. Dodge rating. 1 or 2. Tier 1. So there are 5 more tiers of affixes to be added, with 0 to 3 more affixes coming. Let's see if we can get to the boss dude here. Well, we've still got about half of the duration left on the shrine effect. There he is. He hits pretty hard. Fortunately, I hit pretty hard too, and I have the shrine effect going. Strength, dodge, and fire resist. Quite the variety pack. Ooh, chest. Disappointed! Wrong way. And we have an exiled mage. First one I think of these I've seen on this character. Stop summoning little jerks, you big jerks. I'm on again. Kill that thing, would you please? Another Weaver mod. That's 4 tier 1s. Nope, and a tier 2. So there's 1 Weaver's Well left. That is not a particularly successful piece of improvement. The Darkling Pier is a small little map. We'll be through quickly. And that'll get us onto the boat. We'll fight our way up to the deck. We will kill the big spidery undead Admiral Harton. Inspiration for the book Harton Here's a Who. And then we'll bail off the boat. will be calling it an evening. My plan for tomorrow, which, if you're not aware of it, is a significant day amongst the geek priesthood, of which I am, of course,
That was close.
an archpriest. It is May the 4th. And that, of course, in Star Wars. So my intent was to play on a Star Wars Galaxy server I'd never played on before, but I did not receive the mail I'm supposed to for after a sign up. So I may have to check on their Discord and see what's up. But my intent is to play something Star Warsy, and most likely Star Wars Galaxies. Yeah, I checked spam folder. Thank you. And that was certainly very possible, as this is an older account that I don't use much anymore, except mostly for older account stuff and like private servers and the like. Yeah, it is easy. No, that's... I appreciate your poking me about that. That is exactly the correct response. But because it's an older mail account, I mean, it's got to be close to 30 years old. It's over 30 years old. Yeah, got to be over 30 years old now. It is certainly far more likely for stuff to end up in the spam folder on that account than on my Gmail account. But if not that Star Wars Galaxy server, I'll be playing on another one tomorrow. I already have 5 installed currently. Clients for 5 different servers for Star Wars Galaxies already installed on my machine. But I saw someone recommending for Pre-CU, which is a version of Star Wars Galaxies. A couple people recommending this particular server. I was going to give it a try. The Star Wars Galaxies community, sadly, has one thing in common with a lot of other private server communities. The intra-server fights, pissing contests, anger, rage, fury, and everything can be really overwhelming sometimes. People frequently do not act even remotely like adults. Got him. And it can be very hard to ferret out the truth from the bullshit when people start crapping on a server where they got banned for behaving badly, but they make it sound like it's being run by RMTers, and it's just so tiring, the drama in the Star Wars Galaxies community between the players and the servers.
Actually, kind of refreshing.
You washed up safely. It seemed problem. Yes, I'll hang back. I'll only slow you down. Please, go on without.
I am going to return to the end of time and call it an evening. I want to thank you guys very much for hanging out tonight. As always, I am very appreciative. I will be back tomorrow at the usual time, or maybe earlier, who knows. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, middle of the night in Europe, morning in Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. Guild Wars or Guild Wars 2? I mean, I logged into Guild Wars 2 earlier today to buy one of the weekly things from Super Adventure Box. I hadn't played Guild Wars for a while now, a couple months ago. I was tempted with the 20th, but have been so many things that have been released over the last couple of weeks. I haven't been able to find the time. So yes, for Guild Wars 2, not so much for Guild Wars. Even with the anniversary, I just couldn't find the time. I'll be back tomorrow at the usual time. It will be for Star Wars Galaxies of some variety to celebrate May the 4th. Be with you. It's like a joke. But this is going to do it for me. Again, thanks guys for hanging out. Hopefully you'll see me soon. I hope the rest of your weekend kicks ass. Take care and ciao for now. Bye guys. Well, the older one, there's still the anniversary event going on. Yep, might be worth it even to grab the anniversary storage slot thingy. That's not a bad point. Or doing even a single mission. Just wanted to mention that. No, I appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you. That's actually a good idea. If for no other reason to grab the storage slot thingy. Thanks, guys. Take care. Ciao.